Here we are in Melbourne at Design Summit Melbourne. I'm here with founder Mark Bergin, and of course also joining me is Greg Branson, who is from the Design Business Council. Welcome. Here to talk about the design economy. So what's this about, Mark?
So the design economy theme is, when we started Design 100, some of the issues that we were facing were, how did we get a new conversation that wasn't just about the style of design, but is actually about how people use it in their business? And when we began to distill that down, we came up with the idea of the design economy. And if we're not about economic outcomes, then we're probably in the art industry. If we're about fueling economic outcomes, driving better business performance, doing things more effectively and more efficiently, then we need to go have a conversation about that. And then about 5 years ago, I bumped into Greg and we were having this conversation, and it's almost like two people that knew about football and were trying to go and actually talk about their code of football. And Greg was coming from the studio side about the design economy, and he'll talk in a moment, I'm sure, about the design value stack. I was talking about how that value stack works inside the demand side, and I'd have to say that, you know, we were two like minds from that point. But we do need to recognise that there are two parts to the design economy. There are the people who are the design experts, who are masterful execution of projects, and we also have the demand side, who also have to be masterful commissioners of projects. If we don't make sure that we're growing the skills, the dialogue and the capacity on the demand side, we're going to wind up with people who say, yeah, they do something for me, but I've got no idea what they do. So Greg, tell us a little bit more about Design Business Council and also the design value stack, because I think that's a really important new training tool and an opportunity for studios to begin to upgrade the way that they're delivering their design services.
Okay, so I set up the Design Business Council about 10 years ago to essentially help designers put better performance into their businesses. At the same time, I was working with a lot of people on the client side in showing them how to use design better in their businesses. And that was really where I started to use this idea of a value chain. So the value chain analysis has been around since the mid-80s, and I studied this up and latched onto it and added the idea of a design value chain. So every business, or even a country, a nation, has a value chain, and there's a whole lot of activities that go to contribute to that value chain. So the idea was to look at all of the things that are happening within a nation, an organisation or an enterprise or a small business, and work out what it was that was adding value in that chain, and what wasn't adding value and what should be adding value. And to then analyse that to the point where you can add design to it and increase the value that's being added. So hence came the design value chain. So it takes 10 activities that are happening in every business and says what value are you adding in that activity. So R&D is one, for instance. So what value does your company add through R&D? What more value could it add, and how can design be brought into R&D to actually add some more value? So that then came out with the design value chain, which I now use with a lot of design studios in helping them with branding projects, rebranding, or design audits.
In conversations that we've had, we've discussed that there's both in-house training that you're doing, but also group training as from smaller studios. And I suppose that's an interesting point, that we're seeing there's still a little bit of nervousness here amongst a lot of the design studios about sharing some of their secret juice or some of their secret magic. When I go look at industry, you'll see that there's both internal training and there's also training where they know by being amongst their contemporaries that they go get cross-pollination, they get new insights, and they actually gain more than they lose by going and doing things in a collaborative environment. So I suppose that's something that we'll be able to measure the health and the sophistication of the sector by the amount of people who are prepared to go and do, say, a group or collaborative training, not just private training.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So you take a market like Perth, where very small market, probably oversupplied with designers, and this is particularly in the communication design field. Running workshops there, the first half hour or so, everybody's very nervous of each other and worried about what the other might hear. But by carefully managing the way that they're interacting, I've ended up with people walking out exchanging business cards and agreeing to catch up over a coffee, which is really what it should be all about, because they should be able to just communicate easily with each other and gain from each other's experience. And that, I then think, shows a maturity in the marketplace.
And I think that's one of the things that we see here at the Design Summit, is that the cross-pollination between different design disciplines, between different clients. You've got people who are being able to actually, in my words, meet the 100 people that they need to know, and that they're broadening their network. So congratulations on the work that you're doing, and we'll look forward to hearing how you're travelling along in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Greg Branson and Mark Bergin, thank you.